The next section is on subtrades. I didn't have entered any subtrades, but if I had entered subtrades, that number would automatically show up here. The word is blue, so I can click on it and I can go there and I can enter a subtrade amount. If you want information on how to enter subtrade costs, go to the subtrade section of these videos. I'm going to click on concrete formwork and I'm going to enter a subtrade cost of $2,300. And then I'm going back to the summary page. And there it is, the $2,300. Now for supervision of subs, this number is variable. If you have a supervisor on site all the time, subs are on site, put in 15%. If your subs go relatively unsupervised, you can put in a smaller number. But always put in some number because you're ultimately responsible for the subs. You're ultimately responsible for the supervision of the subs. Some number is in there to cover that. This is the same with safety of subs. These subs are really going to have their own safety meetings, but you're ultimately responsible for their safety, so you enter 1.5%. Warranty on subs, subs will come with their own warranty quite often. But once again, you're the one responsible. When the call comes in, it's coming into you. It's not coming into the subs. You call the subs. You set up the time for him to come in and replace it. You do the work. You need to get paid for that. So we enter in a number to cover the warranty on subs. The next section, permits, soft costs, and travel are all blue. You can click on them all and go to those sections and you can enter your permit costs, your soft costs, and your travel costs. If you want to know how to do that, go to those sections of these videos. The next two sections, overhead and profit. Before you enter overhead and profit, this number here represents your cost of goods. This number represents the cost of materials, labor, and soft costs on site and subtrades to do this job. On top of that, for every project we do, we add overhead, and you can calculate your overhead as a percentage. You can get your accountant or bookkeeper to help you come up with that number. But basically, if you add this onto every single job you do, by the end of the year, you've covered your overhead. That's very, very important. The overhead costs need to be added to every single estimate you do, and it needs to be separated from your net profit, because profit is variable, but overhead, that's a hard number. You have overhead costs. They are what they are, and you need to add that onto every job. You don't change this. Once you calculate what your overhead costs are as a percentage, you leave this number in here. So after overhead, we're left with $9,116. This number is your absolute cost. This number is the number that if you quoted the job at this price, you won't lose anything because you've covered everything. You won't gain anything. You won't have made any money on the job, but you won't lose anything. That's the absolute cost. Everything beyond that is profit. So profit is what you can get for this job. If you can get 20% profit on the job, put 20% here. You need to adjust it. It's not a fixed number. It's a case-by-case basis. In one case, you might be able to get 50%. If you can get 50%, then do get 50%. It's not unreasonable to get what you can in profit for every job. It's just realistic. It's how a business runs. Profit is the lifeblood of your company. It's the only reason your company exists. So you have to take profit seriously. You have to get what you can when you can. So here's the cost of the job after profit, $10,939. There's still 3 lines underneath. Why is there 3 lines underneath profit? Because these last 3 lines are calculated on the total value of the job. You need to know the total value of the job before you can calculate these. The first one is insurance, liability insurance. And liability insurance is calculated on your sales volume. The more your sales volume, the more you pay in liability insurance. This blue button here is a handy liability insurance calculator. If I click on it, it asks me, what's my liability insurance payment for 1 year? Let's say it's $1,200. And then it asks, what's my anticipated sales for this year? Let's say it's $5 million. And then it calculates. So with those numbers, you need to add 0.02% to every job in order to cover your liability insurance costs for a year. So do that. Don't neglect that. Course of construction insurance, sometimes for general contractors, they have to have course of construction insurance as a matter of course for this job. The cost your insurance company gave you per 100, and you would enter the number of months for the job, and it would calculate your course of construction insurance. Bonding, some jobs, especially government jobs, require bonding. If you've got bonding, you will know what your cost for bonding is per 1,000, enter it here. And so after all is said and done, you've got $10,942.58. That is your absolute cost. That is the cost for you for this estimate, and it's included everything. It's missed nothing. So you know confidently that this number is the right number, and that you are going to get 20% profit when you submit this and if it's accepted. Now I just want to go to the top of the page again, and I want to talk about a couple things at the top of the page. At the very top of the page, there's two green arrows. This one always takes you back to the home page. This one takes you to the next logical spot in the estimate. In this case, there is nothing past the summary. So if I click it, I get a message. The next step after completing the summary is to return to the estimating homepage and open the quote module or contract. So it returns you to the homepage, and you can create a quote or a contract. If this estimate is accepted and becomes a project, then what happens is, if you save this as an estimate and you click the project button, then this estimate becomes a project. It asks you for a project number. Project numbers are different than estimate numbers because you do 1,000 estimates in a year, but you only have 10 projects in a year. For those reasons, project numbers and estimate numbers are two different things. So it asks you the project number, it asks you the start and end date. This information is important for delay claims and projected job costing. And you save it. And once it's saved, then a bunch more buttons appear here. I'm going to show you that in another video. But for now, I'm going back to the summary page, and I'm going to remind you about the question mark. When you click on the question mark, you get other question marks. Each question mark gives you information. So you can refer to these question marks at any time to remind yourself about how this page works. If I click the question mark again, the other question marks disappear. The final thing I want to talk about is this create a PDF of the summary button. When I click on it, it automatically creates a PDF and saves it into the Isaac folders for you to be able to retrieve anytime you want. You can automatically create a PDF of every estimate you do. That way you have a record of all your estimates. You can print the PDF and file a hard copy of it. This is for your records. So that's it for the summary page. I'm going to return to the home page, and we will go on to the next topic from here. Thank you very much.